Hello and welcome to the Strategic Bookkeeper podcast. As I record this podcast, we are not too long before we open the doors to the program. And so this is the time that I am very happy to share with you things about the program that will help you make a decision as to whether you want to join, okay? So in this episode, what I'd like to share with you so that it benefits you whether you're joining or not is a little bit more around the Bookkeeper Blueprint and the time and money you need to invest into the activities, okay, that you need to do in order to build and scale a bookkeeping practice into one that gives you the time and money, okay, that you want to get from it. So without further ado, let's jump in and have a look at that. I'm Jeannie Savage, the Strategic Bookkeeper. I've been in practice for 14 years, but more importantly, 5 years in, I achieved a lifestyle practice. This means I scaled my business, could take my hands off the wheel, and draw a nice six-figure income while being time rich. And that's what I call my dream on my terms. I was recently awarded Women in Finance Innovator of the Year, recognizing my book, my podcast, my program, and my impact globally. The Strategic Bookkeeper is my life's work, and the opportunity to help bookkeepers globally achieve the income and lifestyle that sets them free absolutely fills my cup. Please do connect with me on socials at the Strategic Bookkeepers Way private Facebook group or shoot me an email, hello@thestrategicbookkeeper.global. So recently when I was running a monthly mastermind that I do for the members of my starter membership, one of the bookkeepers there, she asked me some questions, and before I answered them, I actually said to her, what's going to be helpful is for me to understand if you're joining my program or not, because the direction that I'm going to give you if you are not joining my program needs to be different to if you are joining my program. And if you haven't read my book already, I explain that in my book. Because my program is a done for you and done with you, then basically when you read my book, for example, and when talking to this bookkeeper, if you want to join my program, it's important that you know it's all done for you, right? So that you don't build the things. I also know that I'm going to give you the assets and the strategies to make it work. So when I give you direction, it's going to be around, okay, you're joining the program and know you're going to get access to, for example, if we're talking about finding and onboarding new clients, you're going to get access to brand foundations that I'm looking at inside the Bookkeeper Blueprint right now. So the signature brochure that we call the $1 Million Storybook brochure, the done for you social media, everything you need. I know 100% that I can make sure you nail the kind of website that you need that works for you, right? Versus what I said to her is, for me, it's not a matter of saying to me, oh, well, maybe like if you had no intention to ever join my program, I'm just going to give you different direction, okay, to if you are going to join it. And what she said to me was really insightful. It was fantastic for me, and I really hope that it serves you as well. And it's something that I've seen inside the program with members who joined and prior to them joining. So she said to me, look, I'm not going to join right now. I don't know if I'll join when the doors open. And she said the reason for that was, number one, it was a cost thing. So she said finding the money right now. And number two, which is I'm finding quite common, she said, I've been part of like a program or coaching system before. She said, and it didn't stack up to what I thought it would be and do. And so it's that once bitten, twice shy, okay? It's the baggage that you take from one relationship and create fear around going into another relationship. Even though we think of that as romantic relationships, it's just as relevant to business relationships. So I said to her what I would say to you, and that is, in terms of the time and money that you need to invest in my program, it's going to cost you a hell of a lot more time and money to do it without being inside my program than it is to be inside my program. Now, I've got the view of that. Like I can see that very, very clearly, partly because I have been a bookkeeper in practice for 14 years myself, right? After 13 years, I shared my secrets to success in the book and the companion podcast. And because I've been there, done that, I know what it looks like to do it without the support I give you inside the program. And I also know that when I decided to get serious about bundling up everything that I had learned, that I had built, to bring it to Bookkeepers, I know the kind of team that I invested in to build out everything that you see on the bookkeeping practice blueprint. And in fact, the time and money that you need to invest into your bookkeeping practice, to turn your bookkeeping practice into one that is going to be a real business. And what that looks like, I talk about the small but mighty blueprint, okay? So the kind of bookkeeping practice that I'm really passionate about helping you build might surprise you. So that primarily, like, I'm ready to support whatever dream you have. If you say, I just want to scale and recruit tons of staff and I want 20 people on the team, then I'll talk to you about that and I'll find out your revenue, your gross profit, your net profit, your time, wealth, goals. But ultimately, here's what I know. You can build a bookkeeping practice with you plus less than 5. So basically less than 5 on the team, including you, and have a very, very high multi-six-figure income and lots of time wealth, okay? So time wealth means you're really rich in time to do whatever you want, okay? And that's your dream on your terms, okay? So in terms of the time and money you need to invest, because building a scaled bookkeeping practice is very different to just being self-employed. If you are going to be self-employed, then you might be looking to be more of a subcontractor. It's a very different thing. And actually, something I think that we bookkeepers can get a bit fuzzy and a bit wrong is kind of sitting in the middle of that, not committing to show up and act like a business and be a business, but also not kind of stepping down to be more like self-employed, okay? Being self-employed is more like having a job. Being self-employed won't scale you to a point where you're time rich, because you're just going to be in more of a state of back to that time for money cycle. When you open and build a successful bookkeeping practice, a business, you're not... Quick podcast interruption. The doors to my transformation program are opening for one final time in 2024. This is your last chance to get in this year. To get all the details with zero obligation, head over to the strategicbookkeeper.global/waitlist. Add your name to the list to be the first in line for all the info and early access to exclusive bonuses. Do not miss out, my friends. I'll see you in there. You're not just trading your time for money. You are solving problems with a combination of time, expertise, skills, experience, intellectual property, maybe courses and resources. But that's an amazing ideology shift to make. Yeah. As a business, you're solving problems. Yeah. As an entrepreneur running a bookkeeping practice, your job is to solve problems. And you do not, and you will not, and you should not do that with just time for money. And even if you think you're doing it for time for money, I can tell you right now, you are doing it with a whole lot more than your time. And in terms of who I work with, I want to work with bookkeepers who do actually want to build and maintain a highly profitable bookkeeping practice rather than just be a subcontractor, okay? Now, you may be familiar with the book The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, and there's something in there that he says, which is, it's so eloquently put, and it's that the skills and experience required to run a successful business are vastly different to that required to be a great technician, and that is to be great at the technical aspect of your job. So whether you are a plumber or an electrician or a bookkeeper, the skills and experience required to run a successful business are very different to the doing part of the job. And as Michael Gerber says in his book, that's one of the reasons that most businesses go either shut up shop in their first 5 years, or if they keep going and they keep trying, 9 out of 10 or even more of them will fail to thrive and fail to earn more than they could in a good paying job. Okay. Now, Michael Gerber says it's all about systems. And to a large extent, like if we're looking at that headline, I agree. Bookkeepers often interpret that to mean it's all about standard operating procedures around how we do the work. And that is not correct. That is not true. But bookkeeper psychology, like our psychometric profiles, lend themselves to biasing into believing that standard operating procedures around doing the work is what will solve all your problems. Now, absolutely, you need standard operating procedures, yeah, but what you need as an ecosystem is you need systems and processes end to end in your business, okay? Front end and back end. The front end of your business is the brand marketing and selling, win the work, okay? The back end of your business is the do the work, okay? So you need standard operating procedures around the do the work, but you need all the systems and processes and the strategies and the assets. Yeah, assets. Oh my goodness, you need the assets. You need all that stuff in the front end, yeah, as much, or I dare say more, than you need the back end, okay? The other thing is at the front end, win the work stuff, it changes a lot more. So the timeless principles don't, but their application changes a lot with the changing tech, economic and consumer landscape. Whereas the back end of your business, the business administration, the practice admin, the general admin, and the do the work stuff, it's quite black, white, and linear, and it doesn't change as much. And that makes it a lot easier to nail down. So the back end part of your business is easier to nail and get right. Side note, show up as the right leader and manager, which is all covered off in the Strategic Bookkeeper book, the last 2 chapters, systems and team, okay? So in that way, I would agree with Michael Gerber. So what's the time and money involved in building out all the systems, processes, strategies, and assets around brand marketing and selling? Like, what's the time and money you need to spend, and what are the things that you need to spend it on? Well, if you've got that Bookkeeper Blueprint, and I know you've got that by now, unless you are a brand new listener, and we'll probably start dropping this into every single episode because I refer to it all the time, inside the program and outside the program. So you should have that. You should have it printed out, even laminate it, keep multiple copies of it. It is the Bookkeeping Practice Blueprint, and secretly it's the Business Blueprint as well. It is developed by me. And so the time and money you need to spend and what you need to do. So it's all there. All the things that you need to do are there. But I can tell you, because I've tested it, if you were going to attempt to build out what I have, so to go and find and recruit the team that I recruit for you, yeah, in order to, let's have a look at the blueprint now. So the first part is foundation, then you've got products and pricing. So in foundation, beyond plan, mindset, and productivity, because as your coach, so let's say you were pulling together a dream team, maybe you'd pull together a dream coach that would be able to help you nail your plan, your mindset, and your productivity, okay? But let's go just into mechanics for a minute, just beyond that. So then the dream team that would nail your brand, yeah, which would be, that's your organization's personality. It's how you connect with your market. It is critically important and covered off in my book. Now, how they would nail your signature brochure, your social media, your website, okay? And then the time and money you'd need to spend to learn and implement the appropriate strategic product ladder. And if this sounds a bit new, then that means you're newer to my podcast. Maybe you haven't read my book yet. It's not my intention to teach you about these concepts here, because you can go and grab my book. Yeah, audiobook, less than 6 hours long, listen to it for an hour a day. Yeah, if you do nothing, nothing will change. I'm going to put my tough coach hat on right now, and I'm going to push you to do that, right? So to build out a product ladder, trust me now, believe me later, this is the Bookkeeping Practice Blueprint that you're going to want to use and nail if you intend to build a real business and a real bookkeeping practice that gives you the rewards that I pulled out of mine 5 years into starting, okay? You're going to want to learn and build and implement a killer conversion process. So I'm reading directly from the blueprint here. Once you've got all that stuff nailed, yeah, then you are ready to answer the door to a prospective client without risking stuffing it all up, right? And that is, stuffing it all up means onboarding a new client with a really low value because your practice is broken and it lacks the right architecture. And that's what you do if you don't have that stuff nailed, right? So what would it cost you to build out just that alone? I can tell you right now, $100,000 as at August 2024, okay, because I batch record my podcast and I'm doing this one early. So in late 2024, it will cost you at least $100,000 to build all of that out. Whereas my program fee, I'm sure you probably know that by now. If you don't, you can get all that information online. But at the time of recording, okay, I'll just give you the current rates. It's $99 a week. And we go on a journey of a year together, or there's an upfront payment fee, but 80% of people take up the weekly because 80% of bookkeepers are struggling to find the cash flow for these kind of things. So I wanted to make it accessible. And when I do that, what happens is you get results that pay for it week on week. Okay. And the bookkeepers inside the program, they tell me that's what's happening. That was my intention from the beginning. But in terms of the time and money, so the time that it would take you to figure out how to do all that, to go and vet the team, because I've done it, and you vet a team of suppliers, and I mean, they're selling to you. So they'll tell you, yes, I know what I'm doing. Yes, I can do this. And you'll have the same experience as me. There'll be many that fail before you learn why they failed, and maybe eventually figure out how to do it yourself, and then learn how to actually recruit and brief people properly to do it. So behind the scenes in the Strategic Bookkeeper, I've got the team, okay? Now, what that team actually looks like, I'm looking at something here on my computer, and it actually goes through 10 skill sets that we have at the Strategic Bookkeeper across our team that I've recruited globally that you get access to. And it's how we help you avoid having to spend $100,000 and hoping for the best, right? So we have marketing strategists, marketing copywriters. We connect you to the world's best website designer, and we sign an NDA with them. That's a non-disclosure agreement, so that they can use all the intellectual property that we give them to create your website. Okay, so at the time of recording this podcast, if you need a new website, if you have to renovate your website, then you will need to budget usually somewhere between $500 and $1,000, but we will guarantee you a world-class website that works like a sales machine. Okay, that is in the words of the owner of that web development company. Okay, they are the business in websites for bookkeepers and accountants, and they said when they developed it with our intellectual property, it is the best they've ever seen. So website design, we do a lot of that behind the scenes for you, and then we get the developer to do it for you if that's what you need. Products and pricing specialist, advisory system specialist, these are all the skill sets we bring. Business strategists, branding and graphics, social media experts, system and team experts. So in the program, you've got one beautiful human dedicated to back-end systems and team. Okay, so we split the program into front-end win the work and back-end do the work. So you've got expertise there and an expert person, and business development management. So what would it cost you? I can tell you, it'd cost you at least 6 figures, and therefore you can't do that, okay? And so if you don't have $100,000 or £100,000, depending on where you live in the world, then what are you going to do to build out the blueprint? Well, you'll probably just have to try and do most of it yourself and muddle through over the years, hoping for the best while the profit stays low, okay? And so really, really want to talk about that time and money that you need to invest if you're coming into the program. So you know that's $99 a week, okay, US dollars to be crystal clear, $99 a week, and we spend a year together. More information when you join the waitlist for the program. We send you a whole lot of information, okay? So I am going to wrap this podcast really, really soon. I'm going to have a look at my notes and what I wanted to share with you. So I wanted to look at the blueprint. I wanted to talk to you about the time and money you need to invest into your bookkeeping practice in order to build it. I wanted to help you compare what it looks like outside my program compared to inside my program, the activities, the assets. I wanted to connect to the bookkeeper that told me it was about money. And then it was about, she said she had been in a kind of coaching program before and it didn't really work out. So right now I want to address that one because that's fear. And I would say of all the things that hold bookkeepers back from joining my program, this is the big one. So I've heard from bookkeepers who felt the fear and did it anyway. So one of the bookkeepers inside my program, we'll call her Jo, okay? She actually shared with me recently, and she is knocking it out of the ballpark. 7 months in, she could not keep up. She was over capacity, and she's quite a quiet achiever. She's very methodical. She said to me, I've got 2 bookkeepers in mind I'll tell you about. So she said to me recently when we were on a Zoom call, Jeannie, I spent $50,000 with a well-known bookkeeping coach, and she's in Australia. So the coach is in Australia, and she said she overpromised and she underdelivered, and I didn't get any real result. Like, she certainly didn't get a result that made her more than she spent, okay? And yet inside of the transformation program, she's got an incredible result. So let's say she had have not joined my program because of that experience. And I'm not sure how she got across the line. I'm not sure how she said, you know what, I'm going to join the program. I'm going to leave that relationship baggage behind. Maybe I'm a bit damaged from it, but I'm going to walk into this one and I'm going to trust Jeannie. It does have a money back guarantee, right? My program has a money back guarantee. So she made that decision, and 7 months in, she said to me, she is just knocking it out of the ballpark. And another one of my tribe members, when we spoke very early on, so she joined in August 23, and she said to me, I've been part of another program. It didn't work out, and I'm really not sure about joining yours. And I said to her, please don't join. And she was really, really shocked. And I've told this story before. And I said, well, that's baggage from another relationship. I've never done anything wrong to you. And I just am really worried that you're not going to be able to trust me. And we need to start in a place of trust. And she said it was the kick in the bum she needed to join. And she's joined. And recently, she had a little bit of a cry because of how busy she is. And that's okay. I don't mind if you feel some pain inside my program, because pain precedes victory. Like, when you get busy because everything's working and you're now on wait list and you've gone a bit over capacity and you've got to recruit a full-time staff member, I'm okay if that's a bit of pain, because we need to put in the hours and the attitude in order to earn the privilege, of scaling our business. So we need to build the thriving practice, delight our clients, to earn the privilege of our dream on our terms. So if you are a bookkeeper who is scared, who is sitting in a place of fear, doubt, and indecision, that's what this is about: fear, doubt, and indecision. I read all about that in the wonderful book, Think and Grow Rich. Then what I want to tell you with my hand on my heart is that the cost of continuing to sit in fear, doubt, and indecision, the cost of letting our relationship baggage hold you back, the cost of inaction, the cost of not acting is far greater than the cost of taking action. Okay. Now, I could go on, but this podcast has been long enough. I've shared what I wanted to share, and I am going to see you in the next episode. Okay, my friend, now it is time to take action. So what are you going to do with what you learned today? The way I see it, you've got 2 options. You can go it alone to try and save some money, or you can back yourself and go for it and join my tribe. And let me tell you, we are knocking it out of the ballpark. That's not a sales pitch. That is me serving you, dare I say, courageously. To find success, I 100% know you need the mechanics, which is like the keys to the kingdom, but you also need to get your mindset right and be super productive. And these are all things I help you with inside the program. I could go on about this forever because I really want this for you. Have a prosperous week, and I'll see you in the next episode.